Hello, welcome back to the Cosmic Mistress podcast. My name is Amanda Frederick, and today we have Kayla Perkins with us. Kayla is a friend. She's also a nurse, and she is a certified holistic cancer practitioner.
Yes, good job. You got it right. You nailed it.
Yes.
Good job.
And
Good.
she's also a great friend, so I'm
Thank
just
you.
really excited for her to be here and share
Thank you.
a little bit of her story and what it is that she does.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here and share my story and also be in your presence as a friend. It's great to have you as a friend.
Yeah. So what is a certified holistic cancer practitioner?
Great question.
And how'd you get into it?
Yeah. So basically, it's a fancy word for a cancer coach, but the focus is on the more holistic side. So taking into account the whole body. So mind, spirit, emotions, and the physical body, which in traditional cancer care is an area I think that we really lack.
Mm-hmm.
And my passion for that came from my own cancer journey that began 5 years ago, which is so crazy to say and think about. But I was 30 years old and living what I thought perfectly healthy life, had no risk factors, no family cancer history. And I found a mole on my head that ended up being malignant melanoma. It had already spread to some lymph nodes in my neck and later metastasized to tumors all over my lungs. And so my life radically changed after that diagnosis. And being a nurse,
you found out about this while you were working as well as when you found it, right?
Yeah. And it's funny how life works. I was travel nursing in Alaska, which it was just like one of the happiest and like coolest times in my life. I had just gotten out of a fairly toxic 8-year relationship, and I was like, let's get as far away as we can. Let's go live. Let's have adventure. So I was at work one night and just had this itchy spot on my scalp. And I don't know how I never felt it or saw it before that night, but it was a huge mole about the size of a dime. And I knew right away I didn't know how bad it was. I knew it wasn't good. I knew it was probably melanoma. It checked all the boxes for, ugly duckling. It was irregular. It was big. It was discolored. It was already pretty deep. And so I was completely shocked, but I had no idea how bad it was, that it could be. I had no idea, even being a nurse, that skin cancer could be so invasive and so, involved throughout the whole body. So it was a huge wake-up call, and a lot of learning and humility and growing and, quiet had to take place to get through the next few years.
So were you single when you found?
I was single. And so what's very interesting about, I've researched a lot about cancer diagnoses and, major diseases or conditions that take place. And so many of them happen after a major life event emotionally. It's
Totally. It's like the rest of the purge.
It's the rest of the purge. Yeah, absolutely. So, I was single at the time, and it had been about, I think, 6 months once I had, gotten out of this relationship that I'd been trying to get out of for a couple of years. About 6 months after. And that's actually a really common theme for a lot of people who are diagnosed with cancer or some sort of autoimmune or, kind of some crazy disease that comes out of nowhere. But there's actually a really significant emotional tie. That, once your body kind of feels safe, there's a lot that, can happen or be expelled. And I think that's part of what happened to me.
So what unfolded from that point on, like you finding the mole, obviously moving into like needing to take care of this pretty rapidly and aggressively.
Yeah, for sure.
Like what did that path look like for you?
Yeah, so melanoma is the deadliest form of skin cancer. So once it's past the layer of the skin, it gets pretty serious. Living in Alaska, I had to travel to the lower 48 to get better. There's good care there, but not the experts we needed. And so I got connected with Huntsman Cancer Institute, a really great hospital in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I had 2 really major surgeries. And, at this time I was still very Western medicine minded.
Totally.
And so I did exactly what the doctors told me to do. Had the surgery, let's do some immunotherapy, and then we'll wait and watch. And so that's what I did. And I was, the perfect patient, did everything they told me to do.
Rare for a nurse being the perfect patient.
Yeah, yeah, especially you're a nurse. It's like, nah, I don't need all that.
Like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. And about a year later, I had this, recurrence. I actually think cancer was never fully cleared. I think it was just kind of quiet, and we could see a little something in my lungs, but it wasn't growing. And so it was sort of this gray area. But, the doctors were like, there's really no evidence of disease. Everything looks great. Go live your life. So I did.
That was after a year.
It was after a year. Yep. So I had gotten married. I moved to Colorado. I was living my life.
You met your husband in this.
I met my husband 2 months after, 2 months before I was diagnosed, which was crazy, and tried to break up with him. And his response to that was, we got engaged. Yeah.
Oh, you want to break up with me? Cute.
Yeah. I was like, because we didn't know. And the doctors at the time had told me, melanoma, it was originally stage 3A, has about a 20%. So less than 20% of people live more than 2 years with that diagnosis.
Oof.
And so for me, I was
knowing you, that's very on brand with how you would be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, we were both 30, not that, we were old, but we had been searching for people for a long time. And then finally found each other. And I was like, well, I don't want to bring this poor guy along with me for a death trap, and I just didn't know, and I was scared. And so I was like, I'm not going to put you through all this. So go find somebody else. And he was like, heck no, let's do it. Yeah. So we got engaged under the Northern Lights in Alaska in this cute little, oh my gosh, not gazebo. What's it called? Igloo. I had like 2 a.m. The lights are dancing in the background. It was beautiful and magical and all the things. But yeah, that was his response to, let's break up because I don't know what's going to happen to me. And he said, heck no, I'm in it for good.
You deserve that.
So thank you.
That's
he's been a true godsend. And I think also, something I've learned in that is how important it is to really, fine tune the community that you keep around you. At that time, I had tons and tons of what I would call best friends. And I think any major life event will show you who your people are and also reveal to you, kind of what you need to. I was such a giver and such a server of other people, and always sacrificing myself, which is a very common thing for women, but also people who develop cancer and chronic diseases. Yeah. And so I eventually had to learn, I can't just keep giving and giving and giving. I have to protect my peace. I have to protect my space. I need to
choose me.
Yeah. I have to choose me. And that came with a purge of friends, which at the time was, scary and sad. And now I look back on it and I'm like, I have 5 to 10 solid quality lifetime people. Like these are my people, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. But with Josh too, my husband, your partner's important, and
most important decision you'll ever make in your life.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's there for, it helps just keeping my mind lifted, my spirits lifted. He's super just goofy and funny, and I'll share. So part of when I got out of just the standard of care with cancer care, I kind of transitioned into holistic integrative medicine. And one thing I did religiously to heal was coffee enemas. I did 5 coffee enemas a day for 30 days. And
it's amazing.
It is. And it's so like healing and cleansing, and like, I mean, how it makes your brain feel and your body feel. It's like addicting. Yeah. But my husband he would bring up my brewed coffee, and he would sing the Folgers song, "The best part of waking up is Folgers in your butt." like you have to laugh about it. He comes from a world of not that kind of medicine. So for him to embrace it and be like, I have your butt coffee. Yeah, let's make it fun. Just completely change the game. So all that to say, like, your circle, your people, I think are a lifeline and just as important as, any kind of healing that, medicine can provide. It is a form of healing.
Yeah, totally. And I think, having those really big wake up calls, like for you, it was cancer, for other people, it's, maybe a loved one dies. Absolutely. Or having a really big transition in your life. Sometimes it takes those to wake us up to realize, like, this is my one life. Like, if this is my one life, how do I want to live it? Yeah. And what I'm hearing too is like the ability to set boundaries and protect what it is that you need, who it is that you are. And like, you've been able to deepen within those relationships of the people that still stayed and were able to show up despite you, moving through this really hard thing and likely changing because of that. Yeah. Like the people who choose to stay and to see you through all of that. Yeah. Yeah. Like that's such a big thing. And you start to notice too how much energy we leak to people and experiences that aren't great for us, that aren't in alignment for us.
Yeah. I mean, your cup, you have to refill your cup. You can't just keep letting it, pour out with energy and emotion and time and all of it.
And like when creating holes for these little things to get in. Yeah. And one of those things is cancer.
Yeah, exactly. And I think so many of us live a really fast-paced life, and that can be really fun and it can be really good, and that there can be a season for that. But I don't think that's how we were intended to live life and not just constantly. go all the time, give, and not have that protection of, peace and refilling your own cup. And I think especially, in our maybe late 20s, 30s, 40s, where there's so much life change and, maybe you're getting married and having kids or settling down somewhere or whatever it is. I think that's the time that we actually need to preserve, those things. Whereas, a lot of people later in life decide like, oh, now's the time that I'll sit back and relax and take time for me, or
I know. And then I feel like people are like, but who the fuck am I now?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I've been so outwardly focused. My orientation has been so this for however long. It's like, then that's why it gets to be like really uncomfortable for people when they get to that point of slowing down and retirement.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
and then you're scared. You're like, what do I do now? Who am I? Yeah. Who are my people? Yeah.
I like what you're saying with like, it's almost like titrating the inputs and like just reconnecting and remembering throughout the journey, not waiting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's more important than we realize. And I wish more people didn't have to go through a life event to realize that, totally. To learn these skills earlier in your life, I think is so beneficial long-term and like so healing for so many different things. Yeah. But for a lot of people, I see it every day in my work as, well, one of my jobs as an ER nurse, these people come to us, in emergent crisis situations. And when you start to peel back these layers and we go through some of the, emotional stressors and life stressors, it's like, whoa, buddy, we should have slow down for a bit. Like 20 years ago, but here we are. So let's do what we can to fix it and, make life a little better.
Totally. So you're at a year. What happens next with the healing?
Yeah. So a year post-diagnosis is when I have the confirmation of, metastatic disease to my lungs. And people always ask, like, oh, so you got lung cancer. And I'm like, no, little did I know skin cancer can grow into organs all over your body. And so it was still melanoma that had metastasized to my lungs. And so this is when things get, really hairy and options are more limited, and stage 4 melanoma is no good.
So then it moved from 3A to stage 4?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. And so now the stakes are a lot higher, and this is probably one of the, greatest, pivotal moments in my life, because I was like, I did everything the doctors told me to do. I thought I radically changed my life. I started sleeping more and I was drinking less energy drinks and I was, had a better diet and I had created this healing space and surrounded myself with a wonderful community. And I was like, what the heck went wrong? But it became so much more than that. And I'm a person of great faith. It's the most important thing in my life. And, so I got really raw and really real. And that was, sometimes it was just laying on the floor, sobbing, crying, and begging for, direction and discernment. And
from God, correct?
From God. Yeah. Yep. I work with a lot of people, that are like the universe or, spirit or whatever. And that's great. But my universe, my spirit is God.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of resistance to using the word God.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a workaround.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I have no fear in saying, and I'm so grateful that I believe
Creator.
I believe in this incredible, graceful, merciful creator. And, so my prayers were really bold, and, very humbling. And it was truly within a matter of days that these doors started opening, which initially it felt like out of nowhere. And then I was like, no, I prayed for direction. I prayed for answers. And I was connected with a cancer coach who had a very similar progression, stage 4 melanoma. She had a mole on her ear, spread to lymph nodes in her neck, and then to her chin and her lungs and liver. Crazy story, but also a really incredible healing story. She healed in like 6 weeks from a terminal diagnosis.
Wow.
My story wasn't the same, but hearing her story, I was like, wow, this is possible, and that's all you need sometimes. It's just like a little glimmer of hope or the faith of a mustard seed. So I got connected with her. I don't even remember how I got connected with her. It was just like, I heard her on a podcast or something and somehow got connected, and she was,
brought to you.
It was literally put in my lap. And then so many other things. I started looking at integrative healing centers all over the world, everywhere, everything in the US to Switzerland and New Zealand and then Mexico. And I got connected with a medical director here in the States who was also the medical director of a clinic in Tijuana, Mexico. And I literally got in a week. They, told me it might be 1 to 3 months for me to get in. I got in with a week, and my very best friend had also started a GoFundMe that I was very like, please don't. I was hesitant. But she was like, nope, we don't want you to have this stressor. We're going to do it. And it was fully funded in like 3 days. And so all these things happened very quickly, cancer coach that could help guide me because she'd been through the ropes, a beautiful healing center that I got into almost immediately, and then the funds to go. And so it was a no-brainer. And I was like, all right, here we go. And I will never forget the day I drove across the border for medical treatment, and I'm looking around and I'm like, what the crap am I doing? I've completely lost all my noodles. Like I'm a nurse. Like I know what people do to heal from cancer, and like, you don't drive across the border. But here I was, and I did. And it was, but it was also just, like such a beautiful experience. And when I got to the healing center, it was called Sana in Tijuana. It was beautiful. I had all these, ideas of Tijuana being like dirty and unsafe. And, there are places like that everywhere. But I stayed in this beautiful wellness hotel that was just full of like water and greenery and healing teas and like people who were here to heal. And I would, take this little van to the healing center every day. I would get picked up at 8 a.m. and I would leave at 4 p.m. Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. we were healing. And my doctor there, the first day we met, he said, you will never fully heal if we don't address the mental, the emotional, the physical, and the spiritual. And so he said, while we're working on the physical with all these infusions and enemas and hyperthermia and all this stuff, he's like, we're going to be working on the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. For first week, I was like, this is a crap. Like, you're telling me to envision this and envision that and meditate on this and do this breath work, which I was aware of and thought was a good idea, but I didn't know how to apply it to my life, nor did I think it was going to work.
Yeah.
So I was there for 30 days. And when I came home, I had a PET scan and it actually showed no evidence of disease. There were still tumors, but they were so small that they weren't detected on a PET scan. And so, that was a moment like my whole life changed because I was exposed to this alternative way of healing, but it wasn't just this physical healing. It was, you got to heal the mind and the emotions and the spirit too. We're a whole body. We're a whole being. We're not just wherever the tumor is, you know? And so my life radically changed that summer. And I came back from there. I did do some traditional immunotherapy, you know, kind of to appease my oncologist, but also like, what's it going to hurt? You know, and it did align with my belief of how the body heals, which is using your immune system versus, you know, just cutting everything out and burning and whatever, which for some people that's the right way to go. Right. But for me, it didn't feel the right way to go. Yeah. So
I love that.
Yeah. So very cool experience. Totally life-changing. Like now I get these little flashbacks on my phone. I would like take pictures of me walking through this like revolving metal door, walking across the border for my medical treatment. You know, I was like, what a world I was living in then, you know? But truly one of the most beautiful chapters of my life. And I would argue to say that, you know, cancer actually became a really huge blessing.
I love that.
Which you know, you get to choose how you look at things. And of course there are times that, you know, I'm like, F you, cancer, you know, and for a lot of my clients too, I feel that way, but in many ways it's truly been a huge, beautiful blessing. And you know, it's something I'll have to deal with the rest of my life. Melanoma is really sneaky. It's super tricky. It can mutate and change. And, you know, there's really not a definitive cure for it, but everything that I've learned the past 5 years, I feel really confident in my ability to live a beautiful, full, healthy life, regardless of what may be, you know?
Yeah. And you've already experienced like what's possible. Like anything is possible.
Truly.
I love too what you were sharing around like you didn't believe that those things could even change things.
Yeah.
But you were open to trying it.
Yeah.
And that's like the biggest piece because then everything shifted. There was like the energy of openness.
Right.
So you surrendered and allowed it to move through you.
Yeah. And what do you have to lose at that? You know, I was like, exactly. That was my thing. You know, I was like, if I don't, I could go down, you know, this dark dying path.
What do I really want though?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and now like the mindfulness and meditation, like I feel like we hear it so often in our world, and that's great. But the power behind it, I think once you've experienced the power behind your mind and your thoughts and even the words you speak, I'm so cautious about the words I speak over my body. And even still today, I look at myself in the mirror like a little 3-year-old girl and I'm like, you are healthy, you are healed, you're cancer-free, you know?
I love you.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're perfect.
I love that.
You know, but there's so much power in it. And now I love neuroscience. The neuroscience is catching up with like the mindfulness and, you know, thinking of a perfectly healthy body. And I love it. And it's biblical too.
Totally.
And I love that.
Oh yeah. I love how it's also interconnected.
Yeah.
I saw something likely, I'm sure on social media a few weeks ago. It was talking about the research of speaking loving kindness to the organs within your body.
Absolutely.
And how there's studies on that being like 80% more effective than taking supplements.
Truly. It truly is. Our cells, I mean, it sounds, my friends joke that I'm like
so
witchy-woo-hoo.
Do it.
Yeah, it really is. And then truly, what do you have to lose over, you know, speaking health and healing over your body? Like you don't. And your cells
Why not anyway?
Yeah. Truly. Anyway? Who cares what anybody thinks? Like put coffee up my butt 5 times a day. Like who cares?
In the name of health.
Exactly. Yeah.
For the health of it.
Yeah. So, but I mean, there really is. And I love that. I think Western medicine is opening up to it, you know, a little bit. Which
I mean,
there's
still
light years
to, with all the research and all the things, all the openness and possibilities that are having with integrating all these other aspects of wellness.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have to at some point to stay on track outside of just like emergency services.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, they do, which like, thank God for that.
It's a beautiful thing. Like, let's have the fusion.
And it's free. Like, healthcare can be so expensive. And especially if you take a more integrative approach, there's so much of it that's not covered by insurance. And those are free things, you know, meditation and it's all free. And it's actually like more effective than
super effective.
Some of these other conventional treatments. So like, everyone needs to do. If I was a doctor, I would prescribe that to every single patient, no matter what. I don't care if you have a paper cut or, you know, a stage 4 cancer diagnosis. Like, everyone would be prescribed.
I love it.
Mindfulness, breathwork. I do it with some of my patients in the ER. So like, I always do like box breathing if we're.
My 6-year-old the other day, I knew how, but she taught me how to box breathe in bed.
Oh, I love that.
She learned it in preschool. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know that method.
Yeah, you let me.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to embrace that. But
kids.
Yeah, I love it. A childlike spirit. Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Gemini, right?
Yep. Sure am. Not the crazy kind though. But yeah. I can't ever tell, but when I see a patient with the same birthday as me that's in there for like, you know, hallucinations, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to say that we share a birthday. I'm not that one. Yeah. The other twin. But yeah. Good.
I love that. Yeah. So when I got really into breathwork too, it was interesting because before I started facilitating breathwork, my experience with it was like, it helped me create so much safety within myself.
Yeah.
That's when I was able to leave a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
Like, my breathwork journey was like the initiation of me leaving toxicity.
Yeah. It's amazing. So, I mean, it's so grounding. And to be, in the present moment, you know, like, you're safe and you're breathing. And if you can just focus on that one thing, there's so much healing.
Creating a home within yourself.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Yeah. That's a hard thing to do.
Oh, fuck yeah. Over and over again, it's hard. Yeah. What are some of the things for like mind? Obviously there's the physical, but like the mind, body, soul, emotional, spiritual aspects of the way that you're serving clients. Like, what are some of those like modalities or helpful tools that you're bringing to them to have a more like whole experience of healing?
So with any client that I work with, I have them do a really detailed and fairly lengthy intake form. And I always ask just where they're at in their spiritual journey. You know, do they believe in God? Do they want prayer and, you know, scripture and things like that to be a part of their healing? Or if they're not comfortable with that, how do they feel about mindfulness and some breath work and, you know, and envisioning things? And so when I'm working with clients, it's such a tailored approach. You know, some people are like, yes, I want that to be my foundation. And so we do, you know, we start our sessions with prayer and everything that, you know, I write a lot of care plans for them. Everything from, you know, diet to exercise or whatever is grounded with a faith approach. And some clients don't want that, and that's okay. And I've done I've tried a lot of different modalities. One that was like so opening for me was EVOX therapy. And it's one that I like to share with clients because
what is EVOX therapy?
So it's essentially, you can do it in a few different ways, but the two practitioners I've worked with, you use a hand cradle to essentially do like a body assessment, and it can help identify areas of the body where there may be trapped emotions, organs that aren't responding or clearing, you know, appropriately. And then it can provide sort of a pathway of here's how we connect mind and body and how we can clear out some of these things so that you can have more effective healing in your liver, you know. And so, like when I was in Mexico, I had a lot of liver stagnation. And so part of, which was we found that from multiple EVOX sessions. So part of that was using like aromatherapy and sound therapy, hydrogen water therapy, the foot bath where you stick your foot in a clear bath and it comes out disgusting. Yeah.
Those are so fun. Huh?
So fun. Yeah. Some of the practitioners I worked with here in the Colorado area will use, you still have a hand cradle, but they'll do a series of sounds or pictures or something you're watching to see where areas of the brain are activated, to better identify certain emotions that maybe you don't know you have, and how to process that, how to work through those. And so, like one time when I was having a lot of fear over making a decision about my care, and I'd seen my practitioner, and she was like, we're going to create this flower essence. And it tasted like nothing, but anytime I would, like, whatever, here we go again. I'll try it. But it was actually some, putting my like fake medicine, but it really wasn't. It was super helpful. Under flower my tongue.
Are actually really powerful.
They are super powerful. Yeah. And, so I did what she told me to do, and I would use it when I was feeling anxious or whatever. And would soon realize, like, after I dropped my little drops, how grounded and peaceful and settled I felt. And so I offer, I've tried to try everything I can by way of healing so that I can offer an actual like firsthand experience to clients, that are so unfamiliar with other ways besides just physical healing. To answer your question, it's a very personalized approach, getting intake from clients, what they feel comfortable with, where do they need the most help? Is it physical or is it mental, emotional? And I'm not an expert, I have a lot of experience, but I don't claim to be an expert by way of the mind or the emotions or anything. And thankfully, I work with and have so many connections with really wonderful practitioners that I can refer people out and know that, my clients will be really taken care of. So, so it really depends. It's all based off of what they need.
That, though. And it's also very different than traditional Western medicine, where it's very like boxy. This is what we do. This is what we do.
Yep.
You're taking the whole person.
Yeah. The whole person. It's so like we're a whole being, a whole body. You have to.
Yeah.
But
I love that. So if there was something you wish more people knew or strongly believed about health and wellness, what would that be?
My first thought is, doctors are incredible, and I'm so grateful for each and every doctor that I've had, but I don't think a doctor can place a timeline on your life. And and what I mean by that is, some people will go in and a doctor will say, well, you have 6 weeks to live. And they have ample data that will support, that number that they've given. But I think it completely underestimates you as a human being and the power of your mind and what you're actually capable of. And I think that's so important to know. And I'm not saying that, a doctor's wrong. They can be exactly right, but that's just one input. That's one intake. That's only the physical evidence.
It's just one part of being.
Yeah. And so I think that that's a really important thing to know, that, this is a little thing to take into my bucket and to consider, but this is not the end all be all. And there's not just one way to heal. There are so many ways to heal. And that can be overwhelming because we're in this age, in this world of information, near and far. Yeah. I mean, you can get any kind of information in the snap of a hat, which is great, but it's also really overwhelming.
And some of it may not be supportive for you. What you need.
Exactly. And so there are so many ways to heal. And, just because one person healed this way doesn't mean that you're going to heal that way. And that's okay. And that's where really digging into yourself and figuring out, what do you align with? What feels right to you? Where, using discernment to guide your path and walk down the path that feels most peaceful. I, never want clients to make decisions based out of fear. And I actually always encourage them, if you're feeling significant pressure to make a decision right now over, health or a big life decision or whatever it is, like, take a step back, give yourself some space to just be still and listen and heal and calm your mind. I have a 24-hour rule. Like any big decision needs at least 24 hours to make it. And if not longer,
I love that.
So yeah, there's so many ways to heal. And I think with any, big decision, you really have to take a lot of things into consideration and make the best decision for you. And that can be hard when you have,
a bunch of different people.
Yeah. Which is a blessing to have a community that cares for you and wants the best for you, but it's also a lot of noise.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, I think you can take all these little things and add it to your bucket and you consider it, but you ultimately have to make the decision that aligns with, your life. Yeah.
One life.
Yeah. Yeah. And your goal for that too.
Yeah.
So,
oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we'll wrap up, but I would love for you to share where people can find you online. We'll put it all in the show notes too,
cool.
Where they can find you online. If you're currently offering anything at all.
Yeah.
And put your website and social media stuff in the show notes.
Yes.
But, yeah.
So healedandwhole.kp is my Instagram handle. healedandwhole.kp@gmail.com is my email.
Cool.
And healedandwhole.net. We're working on the .com, but healedandwhole.net right now is my website. And, anyone that wants to refer or reference this podcast, I'll give a free 30-minute consultation to. Or if they buy a package, I offer different packages. They'll get 10% off a package if they, reference this podcast.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad I got to hear the fullness of your story today.
Thank you. I'm thankful I get to share it.